Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bessie, and on this channel I do type 4C hair care growth as well as lifestyle vlogging content, so if you're interested in stuff like that, do stick around. I think in my last two videos, the last video about moisturizing type 4C hair while protective style, I did say I was going to post a poll for you guys to vote on my next topic of discussion, and it was a tie between how I grew my natural hair and possible reasons why your hair might not be growing. So since it was a tie, I decided to pick on the topic I'm going to be discussing today, which is how I grew my natural hair. So without much further ado, let's just get straight into the video.
You got a 2-day trial before I take back my time and make you pay. 30-day trial before I make my mind that it's a waste. Trials and tribulations, child. Kissing in Paris, I guess we could do it in French, wow. Eating lo mein, it's child for now, child. She got me wildin' out. Rory Italia, child for now, child.
I've said this before, but I'm still gonna say this. If you watched my first ever YouTube video, the very first video I created about my 4-year hair length check, I did say that I was kind of like influenced by my sister in a way, because at the time she used to care for her natural hair. I used to think she used to do too much to her hair, and I wasn't understanding why. So I was kind of like unconsciously moved to begin to research into natural hair. And this brings me to my first point in this video: understanding your hair and its needs. So first I had to understand what my hair was. You know, there's different types of hair ranging from 1A to 4C, the Andre Walker hair typing system, where hair description and texture is classified under a letter and a digit. So in this hair typing system, we have type 1A, 1B, 1C, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, 3C, up to 4C in that order, right? At the time when I discovered this hair typing system, it was going under some criticism on the internet. There was a lot of controversy as to, you know, people thought this hair typing system might not be the best. It came with a little bit of discrimination. You know, people had all sorts of thoughts and opinions about it. But for me, it was useful to me because at least I had a starting point as to what to type when I'm looking for information on my type of hair. So with this information about the hair typing system, I then began to do more research, you know, as to how to maintain and care for my hair. Believe it or not, yeah, I had never heard about the term natural hair. In fact, it was as though it was non-existent while growing up. The first time I heard about it, I was so confused. Like, why do you term the hair growing out of your own hair as natural? Is there anything like artificial hair or fake hair growing out of your hair? It was so new to me. And I had always had like a teeny weeny afro, like a shortcut, ever since I was a young girl. And then I knew nothing about that because in my environment, that was what I used to see. I used to see, you know, my fellow mates had short hair and it was normal to me. So what would make me think that, oh, there's something outside of that? And even if you'd see someone with long hair, it'd be one of those people of like a mixed background or a biracial background. And it was as though the only people that could have that type of hair were those people. You feel like, oh my god, this is crazy. Now that I'm talking about it, it goes on to show you how much society, you know, curbs your way of thinking. It's just crazy. It just, wow. Let me just get back on track. So knowing what type the hair typing system, you know, gave me a little understanding about what my hair was about. So I then began researching in that direction, you know, learning about the technicalities of the type of hair that I have. That my hair is indeed fragile because of the nature of it. The coils and curls make it harder for the natural oils in my scalp to run down my hair shaft, rendering it dry most of the times. For those of you who don't know what natural oils are, they are basically the oils your scalp produces by the sebaceous gland. So your scalp actually produces oils, but the rate at which or how that natural oil is able to moisturize your hair, our type of hair, is not as effective as it would have if it were straight at you, if you get what I mean. 2, I also learned that shrinkage is absolutely normal. If you're experiencing shrinkage, please, it's normal. In fact, it is a way to determine the health and wealth of your hair. If you experience shrinkage, then you know that your hair still has that elasticity in which it grew. If you apply heat or chemicals to your hair and your hair refuses to revert into that state, then it's a sign that your hair is probably damaged or you're experiencing certain issues in your hair. I also got to understand that growth happens from the scalp. While taking care of your strands, caring for your strands and applying moisturizers and products and all that is necessary, it's just as important to know that the healthier your scalp, the wealthier your hair. While caring for your hair strands, moisturizing, applying products here and there and all that is necessary, your scalp care is just as important. How do you leave your scalp in the worst state? You don't do all the necessary things. You don't cleanse it, you don't oil it, you don't treat it as though it was a seedling. You see, in planting a seedling, if you provide the necessary conditions, which is moisture, sunlight, carbon dioxide, all the necessary conditions for a seedling to grow, it will grow to your expectations. But if you don't provide it with those necessary conditions, that seed might grow, but it wouldn't grow to your expectation. This phenomenon also applies to scalp care or hair growth. If you don't provide the necessary conditions for your hair to grow out of your scalp, it simply won't go to your expectation. The hair follicles in your scalp are the only places you experience new growth, right? Therefore, damaged, follicles from tension, clogged pores, and poor blood circulation will lead to slower growth and thinning. Slower growth because your hair might grow, but it just wouldn't grow to your expectation. And even if that type of hair grows, it might not be in its healthiest. It might be thinned out, leading to breakage in the end. So that is why I always say that it's not in the growth, it's in the care and the retaining of your hair. So this is just a little bit of what constituted my understanding about the type of hair that I had. After this realization, I created a hair care regimen or routine where I washed my hair every 2 weeks or every other week depending on my mood, and make sure I moisturize my hair because, like I mentioned, with that type of hair, we are more prone to breakage because of the nature of it. And make sure I deep conditioned every wash day. That I never miss. Every time I wash my hair, I either apply a deep conditioner, which is moisturizing, or a protein-based deep conditioner, just to give my hair that extra oomph, So yeah, basically I was consistent with that. I made sure to keep up with it, follow up with it every other day, just so that I could have like a clean scalp for my hair to grow. You feel me? Also, I made sure I oiled my scalp every now and then. Like I said, I don't have a specific time or days I oil my scalp, but on wash days I make sure to oil my scalp, because then you're going to be stripping all of the natural oils out of your scalp because of the shampoo you're using. You have to at least support your scalp a bit with the oil. So on every wash day I make sure I oil my scalp, and whenever I feel like moisturizing my scalp with an oil, I do that. If you want to create days to do that, that's fine with you, but this is what I did and this is what has been helping me since. Also, whenever I'm dealing with my hair, I am very, 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 very gentle. I have a tender scalp, which simply means I feel a lot of pain with little pressure on my scalp, basically. So I am very gentle when it comes to my hair. And one thing I always avoid is to not be in the mood before my wash day. If you're not in the mood, a little advice, just don't wash your hair, because you're gonna end up ripping your hair out, which I don't think anybody wants. We are looking to grow our hair and retain that length and not break it out of anger. So if you're not in the mood, just don't wash your hair. So that's that. I made sure I was super gentle with my hair. Another thing is that I incorporated protective styling. After every wash day, I made sure to go in with a protective style like twist, knotless braids, wigs, head wraps, updos, and the likes, and make sure to avoid hairstyles that put like a lot of tension on my scalp, like knotted braids. You know, the braids with the knotted end, the knotted roots. I don't even try. I don't try, because like I said, I have a tender scalp, so I avoid things like that. You know, what's that thing called? Ponytails. Yeah, the ones where you have to like scrub your scalp to make it tight. No. I avoid those type of hairstyles because I do not like trouble. I know my head, I know my scalp. I don't like trouble. So if you can avoid hairstyles like that, please do. To minimize breakage as well, I made sure, and I still make sure, I sleep in a silk or satin bonnet or head wraps. These are the ones I've been using. This purple one is a bonnet. This as well. This is a very big bonnet. You know, when I tie my hair up and I'm going to bed, this is the one I use. And this is I think a satin or silk. I'm not really sure about the texture or the material of this, but I think it's satin. It has a little bit of satin in here. Silk and satin, because this prevents friction in your hair. You know, because of the texture of the material, there's a lot less friction, and it's a low absorbency material. So if you have a little bit of moisture or oil in your hair, the rate at which it's going to absorb your hair wouldn't be as much as maybe probably another material would, like cotton would. So basically, these are the materials I use to tie my hair and to cover my hair, you know, to avoid all this tangling and this friction, which can lead to breakage. Also, I trim my ends every 3 to 4 months. As for trimming, I just feel like I just trim my hair whenever I feel like doing it, which might not be the healthiest of habits, because I end up trimming more hair and losing hair, which might not be the best, because I mean, if you're growing your hair, you want it to grow long. At the end of the day, trimming helps you to avoid split ends as well. So I don't mind trimming my hair. In fact, I don't even care to trim my hair. So far as I get the split ends off, I am completely fine. I also make sure to avoid heat in my hair. And the times I go in with heat, I make sure to use a heat protectant, because, you know, in as much as your hair is healthy and all that, heat too can burn your hair, making it lose its elasticity, which is also a sign of healthy hair growth. And it could also lead to breaking of your hair. So I just make sure to avoid that. I make sure to use heat or go in with a blow dryer every 5 to 6 months. You know, there's a huge gap in between the times I go in with heat, basically. Also, I make sure to finger detangling before going in with a comb or a detangling brush, because when your hair is in its tangled state, you are likely to rip it out of anger. So you just do it with your hand first, you know, feel the tangles with your hands and get rid of them, and then go in with the comb. In as much as all these things I've said are important and vital for hair growth, you should still put it at the back of your head, here, here, that if your body and your health and your system isn't in its best state, it will reflect and reveal in the growth of your hair. You should make sure you stay hydrated, eat protein-rich foods, since keratin is found in protein foods. Keratin is what makes up the protein found in hair, which conserves it or makes it last longer. Your hair strands last longer. It's just in the makeup of your hair. So you have to eat these protein foods. You have to make sure you incorporate massages every now and then to allow the circulation of the blood flow into your follicles, so that the nutrients and whatever your strands needs will be provided. You have to make sure your scalp is clean, avoid buildup, flakes and stuff like that. If you notice your hair is getting flaky, is getting dandruff and all of that, you just cleanse it, remove all the gunk and the buildup out of it, so that the follicles can freely, the strands can freely grow out of your follicles. Lastly, be patient and consistent. This hair growth thing is not a matter of you doing it for 2 weeks and 3 weeks and you get it. No. You have to keep on doing it. Yes. Because your hair grows every single day. So you have to keep on practicing these routines, these things you do every time. On average, hair grows half an inch a month, but retention is what makes it last long or look long. Also, you can take photos. Make sure you take pictures of your hair growth so you see how effective whatever you are doing is on your hair. Alright guys, we've come to the end of this video. So if you've watched the end of this video, thank you so much guys for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and most importantly, subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye. Be someone with a mixed race. But you see, I thought I would oh my fucking god, y'all pissed me the fuck off! Hair typing system made me understand that I had to, You
got a 2-day trial before I take back my time and make you pay. 30-day trial before I make my mind that it's a waste. Trials and tribulations.